Good morning, Flosstube. It is Sunday, the 25th of August, 2024. I'm Sarah and you're very welcome to my channel, Sew Me Sarah. This is a channel all about cross stitch, sometimes some other needlework thrown in, and a little bit of chat here and there too. For those of you who have recently found me or are just finding this video for the first time, welcome. I hope that you will enjoy a little bit of time spent with me seeing what stitching I get up to. If you do like the channel, please subscribe so that you don't miss out on future releases of episodes. Those of you who are coming back, thank you so much for being the lovely supportive community that you are here at Sew Me Sarah. Since the last time, not a lot is happening. It has been a nice quiet rundown towards the end of summer, and we are looking at next week being the start of school again. So as you know, if you've been here for a while, my daughter Charlotte, who is 9, is changing schools this year. Charlotte has Down syndrome and she has been at a mainstream school so far in her primary school education. But she does need a little bit more support now than the mainstream school was able to provide for her. And so this year she is going to a school that has a dedicated learning support unit for children with additional needs. And that's going to be a big change for her and for us. So that is something that we are facing this week. That will happen on Thursday. But this week on Friday, we were able to visit school with Charlotte. I have been to visit the school before, obviously, before we made our choice about where to send her. But this was Charlotte's first time getting to see the school and the environment there. She just came along with us, with Mum and Dad, and the three of us visited school, met the school principal. He showed us around. We saw Charlotte's classroom. She found her seat with her name and everything was sitting all nicely prepared for her, and she was really excited. So we were so encouraged by her reaction on the day, because you know it could go either way. It is a big upheaval for her, and going to an entirely new environment with people that she doesn't know is a big thing. But as you know from this channel, Charlotte is a gregarious little buddy, and she'll be fine once she actually settles in. But she loved the school. She was full of enthusiasm, and she was saying, "Thank you, Mr. Bain." That's the principal's name. "Thank you, Mr. Bain. I think St. Coleman's is brilliant, Mr. Bain." So it was all a very good and positive start and very encouraging. So I'm just hoping that her enthusiasm lasts until next Thursday when she has to get up in the morning, get ready and actually go to school. But we will have the advantage of having the carrot on the stick that day of meeting other boys and girls, which she didn't obviously get to do this week. So meeting other boys and girls will be the carrot on the stick to entice her out to school. She loves other children. So back to school it will be. So that has been our main excitement, and I'm very happy to report that it went well. It couldn't really have gone any better, actually. So we're very pleased, and she does genuinely seem happy about it. I know she doesn't fully grasp all that it means, but she does genuinely seem happy about it. So we're on to a winner so far, folks. Thank you all for your lovely wishes so far about Charlotte's changing school. It has been very nice to have the supportive comments that you guys have shared with us here. So thank you for all that support. So last time on the video, I told you that I had had a lovely day with Kathleen, who is Kathleen from Kathleen's Trodden Trails here on YouTube. And Kathleen and her husband were in Northern Ireland as part of their vacation. They were in Northern Ireland for a few days and then they went on to Scotland for a little bit longer. And while she was here, we met up and we spent a lovely day together. And I didn't share the details with you last time because I was waiting on some photos, because I was lazy on the day and only took one photo of myself. And we just, rather than stand for lots, we just said, yeah, we'll share them. As Kathleen and her husband took photos, we said we would share them. So I'll insert a few as I'm chatting here. So Kathleen and her lovely husband were staying in Belfast, and Belfast is about a 30-minute drive away from me, so it's not far at all. and I was able to go in and pick them up. Unfortunately, it was a really wet day, but we tried to make the best of it, and I took them out to visit Mount Stewart Gardens, which is a National Trust property on the Ards Peninsula here in Northern Ireland. So we managed to skirt the rain reasonably well and get a walk where it wasn't too wet in the lovely the walled gardens and the sunken gardens that they have there. Then we were able to tour the house together and then go for a walk around the lake. So we got some nice photos there. We had some lunch together and we drove back down the Ards Peninsula to cross over the peninsula, cross over Strangford Lough then on the ferry. Now I had been hoping for lovely clear skies and so they could enjoy the scenery, but what they got instead was proof of why Ireland is so green as a country. So Northern Ireland and Ireland, we are green because it rains a lot. So I'm hoping that they enjoyed their day. I immensely enjoyed their company. They were both so lovely and so easy to spend time with. I didn't feel any awkwardness at all at meeting people for the first time because Kathleen and I have been chatting by email and commenting back and forward on Instagram and YouTube, and we've struck up a really lovely friendship through that, and it just felt like a continuation of conversations that had been had. The only problem was it wasn't long enough of a visit. I would have loved to have spent a couple of days just pottering around the house, doing a bit of stitching with Kathleen while we could, but they were on vacation together and understandably had an itinerary and wanted to see around the country. But you know, us stitchy folks, we could just chat over a cup of tea and not do any visiting, any tourist things at all. So it was such a pleasure to then bring Kathleen and her husband back to the house and to meet Alan and to meet Charlotte, of course, who insulted them by calling them stinkers at the dinner table. She let you down, that girl, honestly. But we had a lovely time with them at the house, and I'm really pleased that they were able to come back and have a simple meal with us that evening. And then I was able to take them back, let them see Hillsborough Castle, albeit through the gates, and locked gates in the evening time, and then drop them back to their hotel after a really long day together, from their point of view, in terms of having given over a lot of time on their vacation to meeting us. So I wanted to say a huge thank you to Kathleen and her lovely husband for spending that time with me and with us, and you guys are welcome to knock on the door anytime you happen to want to pass by Northern Ireland. Please knock on the door and come in for a cup of tea. It was so lovely to see you, and Kathleen, I am so honoured to be your friend and to have met you in this way, and it's just really special. So thank you so much for coming to visit while you were here. Kathleen also brought goodies with her. So you saw Charlotte's gifts last time, her Nebraska t-shirt and her Nebraska cheerleader doll, or cheerleader bear, sorry, of which she's very proud. And Kathleen also brought Alan and I some Nebraska garments as well. So Alan got a very cozy sweatshirt, which I might steal occasionally, and I got a lovely t-shirt as well. So we're all kitted up to cheer for Nebraska now. So thank you, Kathleen. Of course, Kathleen brought a stitchy gift as well, and I wanted to share that with you because it's really beautiful. So she made me a little pillow, and this, I believe, is one of Teresa Kogut's patterns that has been released through her Patreon. Kathleen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you said this was, and it's very cute. So this is two little cats to represent Kathleen and me. So she has a K for Kathleen and an S for Sarah right up here. There you go. That's not showing in the light very well. Beautiful colours, lovely warm rich colours. She did a beautiful job of adding ruched silk ribbon and buttons to the sides as trim. I think it's a gorgeous job. And of course she added in these little pins to the top as well, which are absolutely perfect in colour. They're so perfect that you can actually overlook them because they match in so well. So this is very special. It's finished beautifully on the back too. This is a very special gift of friendship, and I have it displayed over on the other side of the dresser that you just can't see in the video here today, but it will be happily in place there for a very, very long time to come. So that is my beautiful little stitchy gift from Kathleen. So thank you so much again. I love it and I will treasure it. Okay, something fun to announce now is the winner of the giveaway that I was doing for the Love Poppet Night Riders sale. That sale is starting very soon, and I will be passing on the email details for the winner of the sale to Claire at Love Poppet. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where I wrote down the winner. So the winner of the giveaway for the Night Riders sale is Virpi R2453. Virpi, I know that you have won here on the channel before, and I'm so thrilled that you've won again. If you could comment if you could send me a message either to the email down below or direct message me on Instagram, so me Sarah, and let me know the email address that you would like me to pass on to Claire so that she can add you to the Stitch Along release list. Then those PDF patterns for the Night Rider sale will come directly to you from Love Poppet. Congratulations and thank you everyone for entering, which reminds me actually, last time I put out the video, I had 3 videos for you in 1 week, which was kind of not planned. But firstly, I forgot to include the details of the Night Rider sale in my last Sunday recording. So I had an extra video for that. And then Sally and I did a really fun recording together as a little bit of a catch up on where we're at with our 50 starts and letting you in on the secrets of what starts are coming and what we are stitching together, what are our planned birthday starts, all of our September starts, and then those starts in October, November and December, which we are doing jointly, which we are doing the same projects for. So all of that information is on Flosstube 82. The Night Riders sale info was Flosstube 83. So you got 3 doses of me in a week, for which I apologize. But the result of that was also that I was getting 3 lots of comments back. So I did reply to all of the comments on the 2 kind of regular episodes, so 81 and 82. I did reply to all the comments the way that I normally do. By the time I got to the comments on 83, which was the one for the Night Rider sale, I just hearted your comments because those of you who commented there were entering a comment with the word night in it. To enter the sale giveaway. So forgive me for not being more responsive on those comments, but I was kind of commented out. And you were probably Sarah'd out by all of those appearances of me in the 1 week, but thank you for bearing with me. On the topic of Flosstube 82, which was the joint one with Sally, I hope you enjoyed it. We really enjoyed making it, and I probably owe her an apology for being cheeky on there. But I think she gets it. I think she gets me. So anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate your comments because you guys seem to have enjoyed it too. So thanks for watching that. Okay, let's do a little catch up on the stitching that I've managed to do the last couple of weeks. I have 2 finishes I'm really pleased to report. I have 2 finishes for you. The first finish is on the Caterpillar Cross Stitch sale, the North American Adventure sale. And I got a little bit behind with this one just because the releases were actually quite large, and so I was a little bit slow to finish, but I did manage to finish it now. I think last time I shared it with you, I had this side stitched in, or most of this side stitched in. We talked about my stunted moose because I dropped this border by 1 stitch somewhere. and I wasn't going to unpick that. So we have the stunted moose. Of course, that resulted in having to make some further adjustments across, but I don't think anybody can really tell what those are, and I'm not necessarily going to point them out. They're there, but you know, nobody's gonna know really. So I really love the marine life in this sal. I love the whale that's diving, and the lobster and the crab, this orca, salmon, and the dolphin. I love them. Oh, and the turtle as well. And of course there's some waves down here. So I love those bits of this sal too. It's a fun sal. The whole pattern is available if you are interested. The whole pattern is now on the Caterpillar Cross Stitch website, and you can stitch the whole thing, and it's not a mystery any longer, obviously. So I think of the whole piece, the marine life and actually the maple leaf are probably my favorite parts of this sal. But there's lots of fun in there. So yes, as I said, if you fancy having a go yourself, then head to the Caterpillar Cross Stitch website. And thank you so much to Sally and her team for sending me this sal, this kit, so that I could stitch along and share it with you guys. So, okay, that was the first finish. And the second finish that I have is the little sampler that was part of Nicola Parkman's online workshop, Mrs. Parkman's Academy of Needlework. She has been running an online workshop for maybe 11 or 12 weeks, I think, where she has been teaching some specialist stitches for samplers, and they have been amazing, amazing videos. I told you about them before, and they really are worth watching if you want to learn a few embroidery stitches for counted thread work. I can't recommend them highly enough. The videography is fantastic, and Nicola's explanations and demonstrations are very clear. Both her spoken explanation and the clarity of seeing her make the stitch on screen are very clear. So well worth it. There was a little sampler that was provided free of charge to follow along with the workshop and the tutorials on that course, so that you could stitch along and practice those stitches as you went. And this is my finished sampler. So I did change the colors. So the original colors were quite primary colors. There was a red, green, blue, yellow, black, and maybe something else. But I just switched the colors up and made them my own. And then I followed along week by week, sometimes having to catch up a little bit. But I really enjoyed learning the different stitches, and it is finished. The only thing that I haven't done is over here, in here, kind of behind this wavy border here, there should be some Berlin work, and I did try it about 8 times. It's not difficult, but to achieve the effect on this kind of linen fabric, you really need a very, very fine thread, and Nicola had recommended some very fine silks, and I think she herself had difficulty getting a very fine thread to be able to do it. So it kind of creates, sorry, here we are here. It kind of creates a lattice. Wouldn't be me if it didn't fall off. It kind of creates a lattice work in the background of this sort of border here. But when I used various threads that I have, it all just looked too fat, and the lattice disappeared and just became like other cross stitches. So it didn't work. I tried everything. I tried everything that I have, I tried several silks that I have, some very fine silks, but my silks are obviously just not fine enough. So I decided I'm just going to call it quits. I'm not necessarily going to order something else just for the sake of this little bit, because I could do the stitches. I could do the stitches, but I wasn't going to try and order a thread color to match all of this when I'd really rather be in a shop and choosing it with the sampler with me to be sure of the color. So I've just moved on really from it, and I'm not too worried about it not being finished. But it isn't a difficult stitch. It's just about having the right materials, because effectively you're just making very fine cross stitches in the background which create the lattice. But you can see I even have my turkey knots here which create that little tufted carpet look. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Nicola's tutorials, and I love this little sampler. My plan will be to continue learning with this piece, not necessarily right away, but what I would like to do is try to learn hem stitch on this little piece, just so that the whole thing is a learning experience. So I'm hoping I don't mess it up, but that will be my plan. I'm just hoping I've got enough border space and everything to do all that, because I hadn't really thought of that through when I started, but I think I should have enough to be able to do the hem stitch around this little piece as well. So that's probably a job for next year, or yeah, when things quieten down a little bit. But that is the plan for how I will finish that little sampler. So I enjoyed that, and a huge thanks to Nicola for gifting us all of those tutorials for free from her time and her knowledge and expertise. Okay, so I had some progress on a few whips as well. My daily thread stitch, as you will probably remember if you've been here for a little while, is Rejoice Evermore by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. This was a sal that I started with my lovely friend Joanita in 2023 on Valentine's Day. Joanita is long finished, but I'm still persevering. So lately I haven't been very diligent about my daily thread, and it's really just been down to time, because I've had so little time. Summer, I must try to remember this for next year. Summer is not as free with time as I always think it will be. So anyway, I just didn't have as much time, and because I had other starts to do, I kind of just left the daily thread for a little bit. I'm still hoping that I could maybe catch up. I know how many days I have to catch up on, but we'll see. Anyway, I did manage to pick it up this week, and I started to make a little bit more progress on it. You probably can't remember, it's been a while since you saw it, but I did manage to finish the alphabet and the straight row above it. And I've managed to join up my border, yes, with some frogging, but it's now there. We got there in the end. So I will be able to put in the little, I don't know what these are, the little acorns or strawberries, or I'm not sure, but I'll be able to put those in, and then you can see I've got quite a bit of work to do up here as well. So there you go. That's what we have left to do. But I enjoy it when I get it out to stitch. I just haven't been able to get it out to stitch, or I made the decision to leave it aside for a little bit, for 3 or 4 weeks, just while I was trying to catch up on sals and various things and keep up with the starts, so occasionally something has to go. I really would love to be able to finish this by the end of the year. That is my plan for this one. I don't want to bring it on into 2024. I would just love to see it finished. So I really need to get back into the daily thread habit with it and make progress on it. Maybe I need to give it a little burst of a couple of weekends as well, just to kind of push through. So, but I love this stitch. It's not a problem to stitch. I've got too many things, too many things on the go. So, but it will get done. It doesn't really matter if I don't hit my own deadlines, but it would be nice to. It would be nice to. And I hear lots of other floss tubers talking about 2025 plans, and I guess we are thinking about the end of the year coming up. There are still 4 months left though, so we've still got quite a way to go, but I guess we know that we have a lot going on and a lot coming up. So we start to think about, well, what would be the best way to make progress on that? What do I want to finish by the end of the year? And most importantly, what do we want to start in 2025? Anyway, that is my progress on Rejoice Evermore. I then picked up Modern Folk Embroidery's 10 Merry Sailors. This was one of my 50 starts for the year. It was started quite a bit earlier in the year. It was a chart that we were given at the Stitch in London retreat in October 2023, so last year in October. This was our retreat piece by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery. And I didn't start it at the retreat, but I did start it then in one of the earlier stitches for the 50, for Fun for 50 SAL 2024. And I made quite good progress this last couple of weeks on this one. Here we go. This is stitched on a 40 count vintage country mocha linen, and it's really lovely. So there's not a huge amount to do. I need to finish the border and hope that it joins up. I think you can see I have unpicked because it wasn't going to join up. So yes, the frog has been in my house quite a bit this last couple of weeks. Anyway, I think it's what I get for stitching very late at night or very early in the morning. I haven't been sleeping terribly well, and then I get up and I'll stitch, and then I have to re-stitch or unstitch it the next day because, you know, anyway. So I need to complete the border, and it should now fit. I knew where the mistake was able to go back. The alphabet needs a little bit of finishing. The number 1 has to go in here, and then there's a couple of letters of the alphabet too, and then my initials will go in here. And then down here there is a motif down here, and then I need stitching. So I could have just showed it to you instead of saying all that. So there's not a huge amount to go, so I would be hopeful that I could get this finished in the next couple of months. It just depends when I slot it in to be stitched, but I would think another 3 or 4 nights of stitching should finish this, and that would be nice. It would be really nice to finish it before this year's Stitch in London. That's what I would really like to happen. So that means I need to have it finished by the beginning of October, really. And that's what I would like to do, because of course there are new patterns coming with Stitch in London. And I don't know if you have seen Yasmin's Made with Love. If you have seen her most recent Flosstube, I think it was just out in the middle of the week, and she showed the designs that she has created as the Stitch in London retreat pieces, which are optional. We can decide to pre-order those or not, but she has a beautiful package of 3 different stitches that we can stitch to commemorate our retreat experience at Stitch in London. So I know that not everybody is going to Stitch in London, but they are worth a peek just to see the kind of thing that she has put together, and the creativity, always the creativity of Yaz, and the things that she's done. And what's more, those little sampler pieces, there's a little pin pillow, there's a medium sampler, and then there's a bigger sampler, and 2 of them have got teapots on. So, you know, me and my teacups, and I do like teapots. I don't collect teapots because they're too big, but I do like to see them. So I always love a bit of a tea accoutrement. So it has teapots on it. So I'm looking forward to stitching those. I have decided to opt into that pre-order, and I will share that with you when I come back from Stitch in London. But it would be nice to have 10 Merry Sailors done before I go there, and maybe this year I will make a start on the retreat piece at retreat. So I didn't do it last year, and I kind of wish I had, but I feel a little bit nervous about starting a new thing at retreat, but maybe we'll get over that this year. Anyway, Yaz has done a fantastic job, and it's worth having a look at her Instagram or at her latest Flosstubes just to see what they're like. Okay, my next whip that I managed to pick up is another one that I started earlier in the year. This is another modern folk embroidery. It's better to light a single candle than to curse the darkness. This is a freebie on Jacob's website. So if you haven't got it, you can head over there and download it. I'll put the links for everything that I show today down below so that you can access them too. But this one is a freebie, and it's worth having in your stash if you like it. I'm stitching it on a 32 count Murano, a Lugana. Picture this plus Lugana, and it looks a bit wonky, but I assure you it's not. It's just the way it's on the rods here. And this is, the color is Mystic, which I really like. You can see that kind of mottling there that's in it. It's a darker fabric, but it's not too dark, so it's not that hard to stitch on. It is Picture This Plus, so I think it is a little bit, you know, it's a 32 count, but it probably feels like a 36 count to stitch on, just with the dyeing process, but a beautiful, beautiful fabric. So I don't have too much more to do on this one either. A couple of words and the top border, and then just finish that single line border round. So another one that I could maybe finish before the year end. I want to finish everything before the year end, but I also keep starting things, so that's not helping my finishing ability. Anyway, those are my whips. I have enjoyed picking them up. It has been nice to pick up a couple of projects that were started a little bit earlier in the year, and I'm hoping in September to pick up a little bit more, a few more of those projects that I started earlier in the year too, because in September I hope to be a little bit more SAL free, other than the 50, the Fun for 50 SAL 2024. I hope to be SAL free. I don't have another big SAL until the middle of October, when the Christmas Robin SAL for Historical Sampler Company starts. Okay. So let me show you the new starts that I've had for the Fun for 50 SAL 2024, which is the hashtag that we are using. We being Sally from at Flossie Sews and Grows, and me. We are using this hashtag to celebrate 50 new starts in our 50th year. So 1974 was the year we were born. This year is our big 50 birthday, and we are celebrating that with 50 starts. Lots of you have been on this journey with us, and you're cheering us along. Thank you so much. We are reaching the end of the 30s now. We've got, I think Sally has 39 starts, 38 or 39, and I have 37. So we're reaching that, and we're about to breach into the 40s soon. This is very exciting. It is very exciting. As I said, we had our video, My Flosstube number 82. The same video is on Sally's channel as well, so you can watch it there. If you haven't already seen it, you will see what we're up to. It was nice to chat with her and talk about our plans together. I have had 2 new starts since I last saw you. The first one is another modern folk embroidery. You can tell I'm a fan. It is Fancy and ABC. So this is Fancy and ABC. And this met a prompt from Ros Clarke, who said that we should stitch something with a fabulous border. So I'm calling this a fabulous border, even though it's probably the entire chart. But this is my fabulous border because it does border that alphabets area. So it is rather fabulous. And then Cozy Acres also left us another prompt, and her prompt said, stitch something epic that you've had your eye on, but felt a little intimidated to try. So this definitely fits that bill. I've had this for a while. I have been nervous to start it because it's huge for a start, and also it's very detailed. So, but I'm gonna give it a go. And let me show you what I managed in my 2 nights of starting. So As I said, this is huge. This is probably going to be the biggest thing I've ever stitched. And this is half of it. Can you see? Yep, there you go. Half of it, that's the fabric in half. It's a 36 count Sweetheart flax, and it's really lovely. It is. Let me just get it folded there and show you up close. I know it's wrinkly, but it's a lovely natural neutral fabric. And you can see that I started by counting and stitching all the way across the width. I wanted to be sure that it was going to work. And I'm pretty sure I've checked and double checked without actually stitching all the way down, that I will have the length that I need. So that was just to be sure on that front. And then I went back and started to work in that left hand top corner and to fill in. Basically it feels like it's all filling in. It's just the one thread and hundreds of stitches. So it doesn't look like very much at the moment. If you can see, should be that bit there, shouldn't it? Yeah. So just here and down a little bit. So it's going to be amazing, but it's going to take a while before it starts to look amazing. So this is, as I said, 36 count flax from Sweetheart, it's linen, and I am stitching with DMC 924, so it's a really deep green colour. It's really beautiful. I had chosen it, it needs about 20, it's stitching 1/2, it's going to need about 23 or 24 skeins. For that reason I went with DMC, because not having a needle workshop to go into and look and check what the colour is and if that really is the colour you want, I didn't want to order and take a risk that I would order 23 skeins of something that turned out not to be quite what I thought they were going to be. So I liked 924, this is the colour that I was going for. Shortly after I had bought all of that, my friend Margaret came for a visit and she had received a package from Evertote, and included in there, in her flosses that she had, was Jungle Nights, and it would be an absolutely fantastic variegated thread. Similar colour to this, very similar colour, but yes, had the variegation. And I think if I'd been able to walk in and see it and I'd seen it beforehand, I'd have been very torn about using it. Now the good news is that I couldn't get 23 skeins of 924 all from the same place. So I had to order from 3 different places actually to get enough. Which means that there's a tiny variation in the floss colours. I can see it sometimes, but not all of the time. Sometimes it's glaringly obvious to me and sometimes it's not. So what do you do if you've got 23 skeins of one DMC but 3 different dye lots? Mostly you won't see that much difference, but I think because this is so dark, there is a difference. But then I thought, well, I would be happy to order, maybe today I'm cutting my chin off a lot. Let's see. Is that better? Have I been cutting my chin off the video the whole time? Sorry. Okay. Yes, I would be happy to order the Jungle Nights variegated for this. So actually, if I have different shades of the 924, very slightly different, why not just mix those skeins and pull from different skeins, different threads, and it will create a variegation for me. And then you have no worries about stitching, ending up with a quarter of it stitched looking dark and then another blocked quarter looking slightly lighter or whatever. And whether someone else would be able to see it or not is, it's subjective, isn't it? But I just thought, why not pull from each strand, from each skein, a strand from each skein, and just pick randomly and do it that way, and it will turn out like its own variegated version of 924, albeit very, very minimal variegation. But so that's the plan. I think it will work. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed on this huge piece, but I do think it will work. I've already done it in here and it just looks to me like any other variegated floss would have worked. So so I have no qualms about it whatsoever. I'm just hoping that 23 skeins is enough to actually finish it. So, but I've done the calculations and it should be. So that is my start on Fancy and ABC. It's going to be an extremely long-term project, as you can see, especially since I've got all these other starts planned, which means I'm not really going to get back to it very much, but it's beautiful to work on and I am super happy to have it in my stash of whips now. So that was start number 36, and then start number 37 I'm doing along with Sally this week. We started on Thursday night, we started Autumn Bee together. And this is the Blue Flowers Autumn Bee. Beautiful, beautiful design. And you can see I'm moving now into some autumnal patterns. My next 2 or 3 starts will be autumnal. I love stitching for autumn. So this chart meets a prompt from Vicky in Kansas. And Vicky, I think I've met this prompt a couple of times through the starts, but this prompt is to start something on an unusual non-neutral fabric. So if you can see here, the fabric has got like a lilac kind of color to it. It is French country linen from Witchelt. Is what was used for the model. But what I managed to get hold of was, I need to bring some boards back, sorry, hold on a wee second. I managed to get hold of a 32 count Murano, which is the even weave in antique violet. And I hope you can see, oh, I've just thrown threads on the floor, hold on. I hope you can see that it is very close to the photograph anyway, to the photograph. So this is my start on the blue flower, which is start number 37. I started with the little diamonds on the abdomen of the bee, which are lovely, but slightly caught me out because they're not all exactly the same. So there's a little bit of difference in some of them. And I started and I filled in this one, and then I thought actually this fill-in of the diamonds is really simple. You don't have to worry about the pattern for that. It's very easy to do. And I thought I'll leave that because that will be good fill-in for Zoom calls or, you know, chats or stitching with other people, maybe even at retreat. So I thought I'll leave it and I'll move on to something that requires a little bit more attention and counting. So then I went and I stitched the outline of the bee's abdomen, because once that is in place, then everything to the outside of the diamonds is fill-in. Now I am stitching this with the DMC suggested alternatives that are on the back of the chart. There's DMC alternatives suggested. I'm not using any of the fancy flosses for this. And in some places when I pulled the DMC, I wasn't sure that they were quite as variegated as these ones look. So I didn't want something too solid. So what I did was for this fill-in here, the bee abdomen outline and the fill-in that it comes from it, and also for this pink up here, I've used blended threads. So I pulled the DMC that was suggested, and then I found another DMC to blend with it to create a little bit more variegation. It's not the same, obviously, as using a fancy floss, but it does soften the colors a little bit. Pardon me. Sorry about that. It does soften the colors a little bit, and you do get a little bit of variation when your threads are moving and twisting which one is going to lie on the top, and you know, so you get a little bit of variation. I'm very happy with those colors and how they have turned out. So I think I maybe only have one other blend to come, and the rest of it will just be stitched in the DMC as suggested as an alternative. As always, the Blue Flower charts are quite stitch heavy, quite dense stitching, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean she really knows how to fill a pattern beautifully. So there's a lot of stitching in this, even though I look at it initially and think, oh yeah, that's a nice little stitch. It's a big stitch, but it's... I can only laugh at myself because I do this all the time. It's a big stitch and it's going to be beautiful. And I really love stitching on this antique violet fabric. So I would recommend it if you were looking for something that's similar to the way the called for has photographed anyway. I don't know what it looks like in real life. And I got mine from Wool Warehouse in the UK. Okay, so that is start number 37. And that is all of my stitching for the last couple of weeks. I'm quite happy with the progress that I've been able to make, and I'm looking forward to September and hoping to make a lot more. So what is up next in my 50 starts? I have got tomorrow, I've got planned to stitch Flossability's autumn pillow. I'm so excited. This will be my first of their pillows to stitch. And I want to tell you that you need to go and check out Lauren's latest Flosstube, because on there she has her brother Sam who is designing with her. So Sam has done the artwork for this chart. He did the artwork for the cabin in the woods and for some of the other pillows as well. And Lauren explains how that relationship works, who's designing, who is charting, who is stitching, and they are working together as a family team. It's lovely to see their dynamic. It was lovely to meet Sam. So go over there and catch that latest Flosstube from Lauren if you want to learn a little bit more about Flossabilities. But I'm looking forward to stitching this because I've been collecting the little pillows all year, but I haven't yet managed to start one. I've got a vintage country mocha as my background and DMC variegated floss. I think my report card for displaying on Flosstube will say could do better. This is DMC 4124, which is a beautiful orange variegated, so I think it will work really nicely on here. It's probably going to be paler than the original, but I love it. So I'm really looking forward to starting that tomorrow. It's exciting to start patterns that you've been really looking forward to for a while. So that will be number 38. And then we're into September. I'm going to insert a little slide here of my planned September starts, because I didn't insert it into the last video that I did with Sally. But if you want all the detail on those starts, it is on Flosstube 82, which is my joint video with Sally. And there I talk about everything in much more detail. So I'm not going to spend a long time on that today, but I have Les 4 Saisons, which is a Jardin Privé chart. It's 4 little seasonal snow globes, you know, one for each of the seasons, and I'm going to start the autumn one. That is going to be my next autumn stitch, and that'll be start number 39. Start number 40 will be Rouge Gorge, which is a freebie from Crochet A Go-Go. I will have the links for all of these down below, so you can pick up any that are freebies. You can head over to find those. They weren't necessarily linked on Flosstube 82, but they will be linked here for you if you're interested in those. Number 41 is a free mirror, free mirabilia. It's called Cherub with Tree. There are other cherubs on the freebie, so that is a page that's worth having a little look at if you like mirabilias, or if, like me, you don't want to do a big mirabilia, but just something in you wants to touch a mirabilia. That's why I'm going to do this little Cherub with Tree. And then start number 42 is very exciting. That is going to be Sally's birthday start. And we are doing that on the 26th of September. And she has chosen Americana Blue, which is October House Fiber Arts pattern. And again, we both show you that and talk about our plans for stitching that on episode 82 or on that joint video, which Sally has also posted on her channel. For that stitch, we are using two hashtags. We are using Fun for 50 Sal 2024, and we are using Sally Americana for 50 as well. So if you want to join in with us, and here's a hint, you can stitch it in any color you like. It doesn't have to be blue. It is a monochrome sampler, and you can join us for that and celebrate Sally turning big 5-0 in September. It's very exciting. So those are our September plans, and as I said, we also shared what our October, November and December joint stitches would be. And we worked our way up to my birthday one, which I'll not tell you here because I'm going to make you go and watch that, number 82. If you haven't already seen it, you can find out what my birthday stitch will be so that you could maybe join us for that if you haven't already stitched it. Lots of you will have already stitched it. But anyway, that is the plan. You will hear more about the October, November, December coming up, but we did tell you what we're starting together. So that is really it for the Fun for 50 Sal for this episode. I want to thank you all for joining in with us because lots of you have been stitching along on various projects and your support has been really valuable to Sally and I. We appreciate you cheerleading for us. My other plans in September, I kind of have touched on them. I don't have other sals, so I want to pick up a couple of other pieces that I started earlier in the year. Maybe also to pick up on the peacock tree, which is another modern folk embroidery. I started it to join in with Carmen, sorry, at Cardamom Pins. She was doing a Jacob Sleeper sal, so patterns that maybe are less prominent in Jacob's catalogue, and it's been a wonderful sal to watch. Her latest video, which she just posted in the last few days, has included some finishes from other folk who joined the sal as well. I have been very remiss. I started with gusto and joined the sal and really wanted to, but just, oh, fly, go away. I just have been remiss and not been able to pick it up again and to get it finished. But that would be a nice one to pick up in September and work towards. Again, rejoice evermore. I would like to get my rhythm back. So I've got lots on. I've got lots of plans. We'll see how that works out in reality. I'm always full of lots of plans, but you know, you have a plan, at least you've got something to work towards, and it's not critical. It's my hobby. So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Anyway, that is all of the plans really. Getting connected in the community is something I like to talk about most videos, if not every video now. I just want to share with you some opportunities of how you can connect. If you don't have stitchy friends, if you don't have anyone you stitch with in real life, there are ways that you can connect through the community here on social media, and there are ways that you can meet up in real life too. So I wanted to just have a little segment on my video that encourages you or shows you where to find those opportunities. So today I just want to encourage you to think about going to a retreat. Now this is not about a specific retreat, but just to encourage you in general, if you've not been to a retreat, it is where you're going to find your tribe. I'm telling you that as someone who is actually, in my real life, fairly introverted. I find it very stressful going into situations where I don't know people. A lot of you will understand this. And I know, what I'm trying to say is I know it's not easy. But if you can sort of convince yourself, you will find your people there. A cross-stitch retreat will be full of people who love doing what you love. you will automatically have something to talk to them about. You will be able to talk to them about Flosstube, because if you're here watching, you know what Flosstube is. You know who some of the Flosstubers are. You know about stitching. You know what's out there and current, and you know what the buzz is, what the chat is. So you will have something to talk to them about. You will find that 70% of the people there are also nervous about being there, but they will also find their tribe. They will find the people, lovely people, who can just chat stitching and normal things and no pressure. So I truly encourage you to consider going along to to consider going along to a retreat. There are all sorts of different retreats out there. There are huge retreats like StitchCon, like the Big Stitch, which just happened in the UK. StitchCon's obviously in the US, Stitch North in Canada. Those are huge retreats, maybe 200-300 people, lots of tables. But remember, even if you go into something big like that, you will be at a little community with 7 or 8 other people at a table. So you don't have to deal with all 300 people all at once. I'm trying to convince myself of that too, because I've never been to a really big retreat. But I have heard so much about the bigger retreats, and I think people find a little table community. You're not dealing with the whole crowd all at one time. But there are also smaller retreats than that. There are retreats of 100 folks. There are retreats of 50, 60, 70 folks. Those might be the ones for you to dip your toe in the water of. Something like Stitch in London in the UK, or Floss Friends in the UK, or some of the smaller retreats in the US. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the sizes of all the retreats. I can think of lots of names of retreats, but not specifically their sizes. But I do know that there are smaller retreats in the US as well. Canada. I think that Caroline and Kerry at Evertote and Roxy Floss, when they have a couple of different styles of retreat, I think one of them is slightly smaller as well. So it pays to do a little bit of research and try to find out in the community where those stitch retreats are, and find out which size of a retreat do you think would work for you. Last year I went to my first stitch retreat, and that was at Stitch in London, and there were, I think, 70 or 80 people at that retreat, and that was a good size, a really good size. So that worked for me. I felt really comfortable. And as I said, I think I could do a bigger retreat too, because now I know I can find my table. I can find my table of community, and then you'll talk to people at the next table, and you will find yourself branching out a little bit. And if you really don't want to and you're just comfortable with your table, that's okay too. But as I said, we, the stitching community, we're all enthused by the same thing. We all share the same passion, and that just makes it so much easier. You're not just going into a corporate room at a corporate event where no one has anything in common, really. So I truly encourage you to think about a retreat. If it's even been an inkling in you, think about it. Think about going along, because you will enjoy it and you will make friends, and you will be able to then, following retreat, you will be able to know the people that you're chatting with online. You might even find someone from your area. You might find people that you're able to meet up with outside of the retreat. Maybe you'll start a stitchy group with someone, or, you know, these are the ways that our community starts to grow, and these are the ways that you can find to fit in. So I hope that you will be brave and give it a try. I've never heard anyone say that they went to retreat and they're sorry that they did. I've not heard that at all. And it's okay to go and say, actually, that one's maybe too big for me. I'll stick to the smaller ones, but go and try them. You won't hate them. I think you'll love them. I think you'll find the people who are just like you and me. So that is my 2 cents worth on going to retreats. And I hope that in some way, some of you will be encouraged to get connected to the community by going along to a retreat. That is really it for today. I think I hear the I hear the folks in the other room are looking to have their lunch, so so I'm going to lose the kitchen in about 3 seconds, I think. So I will love you and leave you today. I hope you've enjoyed the stitchy goodness, and I hope you'll come back soon next time. Should be about 2 weeks again, I hope, and I'll tell you how Charlotte got on starting her new school, whether she's ruling the place yet or not. Here's hoping. Anyway, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that until we meet again next time, you'll stay well and stitch happy. Bye, folks.